On this episode of UTR, it's another road trip. Only this time we're getting our kicks on our own Route 66. We'll float over a long lake, show you where fish come from, and stop for some smoky selections. Then we count in a kayak, meet ice cream making mammals, and even show you some groovy gators. Get ready to explore the cool people, places, and things that make Michigan roads a great place to ride.
Support for Under the Radar provided by the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, dedicated to shared economic success. MEDC promotes the state's assets and opportunities that support business investment, job growth, and community vitality.
Along the way is where we find the unexpected. Along the way is where we take in the scenery, and often where we have the most fun. Sure, along the way can be the place we stop to fill up or grab a bite to eat. But in Michigan, along the way becomes the place we've been longing for. Because enjoying the journey is always pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
I've been around the world, but there's one place I keep coming back to. And the more I explore, the more I realize it's the place to be. I'm Tom Dalton, and this is Under the Radar, Michigan. Hey there, adventure seekers. It's time for another patented UTR righteous road trip, where we pick a Michigan highway, and I do it my way.
What about us?
Well, us didn't rhyme. Sorry.
So settle in, folks, because this time we're getting our kicks on Michigan's own Route 66. We're starting high and heading low, and we've picked out some really cool places to go. So fasten your sofa safety belt, grab a bona fide beverage, and get ready to bounce, because this UTR road trip starts right now. Now, technically speaking, M66 is a north to south state trunk line highway in Michigan's Lower Peninsula. It was completed in 1920 and is 266 miles long. It runs from the Indiana state line in the south to Charlevoix in the north. And speaking of Charlevoix, if you want to get around the lake up here, you either drive miles and miles around it, or you do what the locals have done since way back in 1878. Hop on the Ironton Ferry. Back in the day, this convenient cable ferry got the occasional cattle or horse-drawn wagon across the water. Today, it'll get you, your car, and your whole family across. The best part is it only takes a couple of minutes. And to be honest, the scenery alone is worth the price of admission. Even if you don't need to get anywhere, take a ride on the Ironton Ferry, just for the fun and history of it all. So we crossed Lake Charlevoix in style, de-ferried, hit M66, and headed south in search of our first adventure. One that would turn out to be, well, pretty fishy.
Next time you catch a fish in the Great Lakes, ask him where he's from, because chances are he was born right here.
That's right. Over 3 million trout a year cut their teeth right here at the Jordan River National Fish Hatchery in Elmira. This amazing place is staffed by a dedicated collection of caring conservationists who've made sure that these fish survive and thrive since way back in 1965. Now, if you're wondering how the heck you hatched this many fish in one place, well, I was too. So I dropped in a line and reeled in Roger Gordon. He's the hatchery manager here and pretty much father fish.
The sheer size and scope of this place, it totally caught me off guard.
Yeah.
I mean, is it true 3 million fish a year?
And this year, 2017, we have transported over 3 million fish onto this facility.
How do you even know there's that
Well,
many?
we count them. We count every one. Everyone gets a micro tag in its nose, and while we do that operation, we count those fish.
Now, why is what you do so important? Why do we stock the Great Lakes?
Well, the Great Lakes aren't what they used to be. I guess that would be a statement you could put on a poster. But we do our best to try to get them back to the most productive they can be now. And the only way we can do that for some species of fish in the current situation is with stocking, and that's the story we've had with lake trout for over 50 years.
Now, what a lot of people don't know is this place is actually accessible to the public. People can come here.
Exactly.
And it's a great family experience.
We try to make it that way. Like, this is a federal facility.
Right.
You know, we're one of 70 sprinkled across the United States, and the taxpayers paid for this. So in my opinion, as the manager of the hatchery, I do everything in my power to make it open and accessible to the public so they can see what they've paid for and what the programs that they support through their tax dollars can do.
Well, it's fun, it's educational, and it teaches kids how important this work is,
Right.
maintaining our ecosystem.
Exactly.
Now, explain how this all starts. So it all starts in the nursery, the first building we went into?
Exactly, it's nursery. We call it the tank room. That's where the eggs are brought in. We bring our eggs in November.
Right.
They come from other hatcheries, other Fish and Wildlife Service hatcheries.
I was going to say, who's the mommy and daddy?
The mommy and daddies are at other hatcheries. This is what we would term a production facility.
Okay.
We raise lots of little guys. But some hatcheries just have adults, and they have mommy and daddies there
Right.
for up to 10, 15, 20 years, and their job is just to produce eggs. We get those eggs in this facility, about mid-November, and then they hatch by February.
So in the nursery, that's where you teach them to swim.
Well,
that's where you teach.
They pretty much know what's going on.
What do you feed them? Fish chow? I mean,
Kinda. It's a commercial diet. It's taken us probably 100 years to perfect some of these artificial diets. And trout readily accept an artificial diet. We get very high survival, well over 90% for some of our trout strains.
they come out of the nursery.
Yep.
That's where they learn, like I said, just to
Yep,
swim and
yep,
all that.
yep.
And then they come into the next building.
Exactly. They come into this building.
Right.
And then after, probably 3 months in this building, they'll start moving to even one more of our buildings. We have another building on the other side of this large building. And then they'll stay in these buildings till next spring. They'll spend between 14 and 18 months on this facility, and then they'll get stocked out in the Great Lakes.
And people can come into any of these buildings anytime and see the fish at the different stages.
Yeah. We leave the buildings that have the fish in them open 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
That's outstanding. How do you keep track of their size? Do you measure them or?
Well, we measure them about once a month. We go through and we take subsamples of the population. Right now we have about 1 million fish on station, and we'll come in here monthly and sample different ponds just to monitor growth, see how we're doing, see how they're doing, do some fish health profiles on them just to make sure everything's okay. And we do that throughout the year just to optimize their growth.
You love what you do?
I love what I do. I've been doing it a long time, and I'll probably do it till I retire.
If you're an ardent angler and you want to meet your future fish, or you just want to see what it takes to keep the Great Lakes going, check out the Jordan River National Fish Hatchery. They'll show you over 1 million reasons why what they're doing here is so important. Well, we left the smell of fish far behind, hopped back on 66, and headed south for about an hour and a half when the smell of smoked sausages brought us to a sudden, yet satisfying stop. There it was, such as it is, Denslow Smokehouse in Sears, where road-weary warriors can wrangle up a wide variety of savory, sumptuous, smoky meats. From sausage, chops, and jerky to, that's right, bacon. They had everything the carnivorous UTR crew needed to refuel and find our way to the hotel.
Take 1 of these, 5 of these, 8 of these, and 17 of these.
So proprietor Penny Denslow piled our beef and pork products into a bag, and off we went to our hotel for some much-needed sleepy time. Meat does help you sleep, right? Well, after a good night's sleep and a bad case of the meat sweats, we headed back down the road for more kicks on M66. And this time we stopped in the town of 6 Lakes to do exactly that, kayak the 6 lakes in this area. They're all connected and waiting for you to explore. Sina Torkelson owns and operates Camp Torque Outfitters, a very cool outdoor adventure operation. And she's here to make sure that we stay buoyant on these numerical bodies of water.
So are all 6 of these lakes connected?
Yeah, well, you can get to all of them by kayak up until the 5th lake.
Yeah.
And then the 6th lake actually runs like under the road
And this lake we're on right now is lake number...
This is the first lake.
Okay, this is First Lake, okay. You grew up in this area, in Six Lakes?
I did. I actually grew up on Second Lake.
You are lucky. I mean, this is a beautiful area.
It's kind of hidden, and I don't really realize how awesome it is. And I think we just take it for granted here because we have so many of them.
So with your adventure company, you can kayak these 6 lakes, you can mountain bike, you can canoe. Your job really is to help people discover the natural beauty of this area.
Yeah, and to really, I guess, get in touch with nature. And you know, you can have the worst day ever and get out on a kayak, or for me, it's a paddleboard,
yeah,
and go out to the middle of the lake and really just, you know, kind of shut the world out and, you know, center yourself again.
How long does it take to traverse or to paddle the full length of the lakes?
It really, it really depends on how
big your forearms are, right?
Well, and you know, and how motivated you are to get there. If you're leisurely paddling, you know, it's probably a half an hour, 45 minutes.
Well, even on a cloudy day like today, because it's summer, but even with a little bit of clouds like this, and there's a little bit of rain coming down, it's still beautiful back here.
It's very peaceful.
So if people want to come back on these lakes, let's say you want to come back with a few kayaks and you want to go from First Lake to Sixth Lake, are there places to camp along the way?
There are. Right here on First Lake, the township actually has a really nice little campground. It's got a perfect little swimming beach. It's a really nice campground. And if you keep going a little ways, you can get to Fourth Lake, and there's an RV park called Pleasure Point. And that's actually a really nice place too. And then if you keep going further and you get to Fifth Lake, there's another campground called Nature's Chain.
Yeah.
And that's actually a really nice campground, and that's grown a lot over the past few years. And the owners are amazing. They're local people, and they're friendly. They're involved in the community, and that's the biggest, you know, reason I wanted to start a business here too, was the sense of community here is pretty incredible.
Do you find that these 6 lakes help bring a sense of community to the town?
I do, and it's something that brings business to the area, and I think that's the biggest thing, is I want to keep our community. I like that it's small, and I like that it's kind of hidden, and I like that it's ours, but I also want others to know about it.
Well, this is one of our road trips that we're doing, and when we were looking for places up and down Route 66 in Michigan, on the map I saw these 6 lakes. I thought, that's really cool. Then I saw, oh, it's called 6 Lakes. That's really cool. And then when I realized that you can actually paddle through all of them, I thought that's a great thing to feature on the show, because this is just the kind of thing that people need to know about.
If you're an outdoor enthusiast like me, you should absolutely and enthusiastically entertain the thought of checking out Camp Torque Outfitters. They'll help you corral a kayak and enjoy these waters like we did, because these 6 lakes you can literally count on. Get it? Count on? Oh boy. Well, after getting our feet wet, it was time to hit the dry road again. So we continued south on 66 in search of, well, our just dessert.
You know, if you're lactose tolerant like me, there's nothing better than a huge scoop of homemade ice cream. And speaking of huge, I'm not milking that.
Mooville is a delightful dairy farm and creamery in Nashville where families have been flocking for years. They produce milk, butter, cheese, and yogurt. But the substance that we'll soon be sampling is a sweet selection of their 80 flavors of award-winning ice cream. Now, when it comes to family affairs, Mooville is full of it. Well, family, that is. And they're all in it for the same reason: quality dairy products. Troy Westendorp is just one of the cavalcade of kids who keep Mooville, well, moving.
We initially came here to eat your award-winning ice cream, but I have to be honest with you, I am so blown away with this entire operation, I don't even know where to start. Yes, I do. First of all, you guys have taken the phrase family business to a whole new level. Your parents started the place, then they had a son, then they had twins. Then they had triplets.
Yep.
And you are one of the...
I'm one of the twins.
So they don't need to hire farmhands.
No, there's 6 kids. When my parents moved here, there were 6 kids under the age of 6, and yeah, from there everything just grew.
So are all the kids still involved in the business?
Yeah, so we're out of the 6 of us, we're all involved in the business. 5 of us are either full-time at the farm or creamery, and yeah, there's nothing better than really working with family, and we do get along most days. I always say if we're not fighting, then we don't care, and we do care, so we do fight. So we're around each other every day, and it's part of the business, I guess.
How many cows do you have here?
There's 200 in this barn that we're milking, and then there's about 450 total on the farm.
Right. That's a lot of ladies. Hello, ladies, by the way. And how do you even milk that many cows?
So everything's milked by robots. The cows can get milked when they want. They walk into the robot when they want, and it's a fully automated system that uses lasers and 3D cameras, and yeah, they're on their own schedule. So
seriously, so whenever they're feeling a little full, they just walk in there, have a snack, and the machine milks them, and they're on their way.
Pretty much, yeah.
And the milking machine knows each cow individually.
Yep, there's a transponder on the cow that tells the robot which cow is which, so it knows when a cow walks in the robot, it knows exactly which cow it is.
You even have a back scratcher for the cows?
Back scratchers, there's fans running 24/7 when it's hot out. They lay on sand. It's probably the most comfortable thing for the cow to lay on, and yeah, we try to keep the cows as comfortable as possible. That's the main goal.
So it's not an ice cream place, really. This is a working farm, dairy, ranch, and ice cream place.
Right, we go from the first step, which is planting the seeds for our own crops, and then the crops turn into milk, and then the milk we process ourselves and deliver it ourselves too. So
now, getting back to the ice cream, because we really love ice cream. How many flavors you got?
We're currently making right around 80 flavors. 80? 80.
Do all you kids get together and make up flavors?
Yeah, everyone has ideas always, but only the good ones stick. So I always say you gotta have a good name for an ice cream flavor.
You grew up in this business. Do you still love it?
Still love it. I love working with family. That's probably the best thing. And yeah, we're just kind of self-motivated and try to just keep improving every day, basically.
Well, this is our first road trip down 66, and I have to be honest, you picked a beautiful place to live because the whole drive down here is incredible.
Yeah, there's nothing better than historic, really, Route 66, and there's a lot to do on it, and we could spend a week just driving through 66 finding things to do.
Well, we're still getting the ice cream.
Good.
If your last trip to get ice cream lacked a little luster, you should migrate your family to Mooville. It's so much fun, you'll linger long enough to want another scoop. I actually loitered, so they gave me 3 scoops. But you know me. Ice cream. Well, after our brain freeze finally defrosted, we headed back down 66 to the town of Athens, where we encountered some of the planet's most ancient animals.
This is Critchlow Alligator Sanctuary. And if you're this is Critchlow Alligator Sanctuary. Oh, I'm sorry, are you upset with me? This is, where are we? Oh, Critchlow's, okay. This is Critchlow Alligator Sanctuary. And if you like some fun and adventure wrapped up in your education, this is your place. Right, sweetie pie?
Now don't worry, you aren't watching a pilot episode of UTR Florida. This is an actual and real alligator sanctuary right here in Michigan. Who'da thunk? Peter Critchlow is the man that still has both of his hands, and he makes sure these animals are happy, safe, saved, and secure. He also helps us all understand why these reptiles deserve our care and respect.
This is without a doubt the coolest petting zoo I have ever been to. You ever pet them?
We have a gator that we especially train basically for petting.
Well, I didn't realize that gators actually make noises.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I heard you earlier actually do that call you were doing
Well,
earlier.
it's called a chirp, and you use your throat, and it sounds like this.
And they respond to that.
Yeah.
That's very, how did you guys get into this?
It started just basically with someone contacting us and saying that they had a gator that they didn't want anymore, and we'd already been rescuing small lizards, iguanas, just little things, and so we decided we'd give it a try, and this was about 25 years ago.
And it's grown to this incredible facility.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got every different phase of the gator development, from the little baby ones to
Who's the big one over there again?
Godzilla.
Godzilla. How old is he?
He's 28. He's about 10.5 feet long. He's over 300 pounds.
Wow.
But he's a highly trained animal. He understands commands, his name, colors.
I was going to ask you, how smart are these animals? Because I've noticed that you've gotten in with them, and you'll talk to them and call them over, and they come over like a dog. They mind better than my dog.
Yeah, they're very intelligent animals, especially with sounds, because they make a lot of different sounds, and those sounds mean different things to them. So you can use sounds, and if you repeat a sound and give them a treat, after a while they associate that sound with being rewarded. So it's easy to get them to respond to their name, and then you could do a couple other things. You could have a stop command, you can have a command to have them go inside of a structure, which is really important here because they have to go in for the winter time. So
I was going to ask you, where do they vacation in the winter? Because it gets cold here in Michigan.
So we build habitats out of shipping containers, and inside the habitat it stays 60 degrees throughout the winter.
Right.
And that's where
they go kind of dormant and just hang out.
Yep. No food in the winter, which is not too much different than their normal life. In Florida, they usually don't eat in the winter time.
Oh, that's the opposite of humans. In the winter, we lay around and eat too much, and then in the spring, you're like, oh, darn it, what happened? Do you have any unauthorized breeding like in Jurassic Park?
Nope, they cannot breed. It's too cold in Michigan. They actually can't breed north of Georgia.
How do they know?
They know. They have thermometers in their pinkies, and so they put their fingers in the ground, they feel the soil, and they need to feel a certain temperature for a length of time before they will actually go through any of the process of digging a hole and laying eggs.
That is amazing.
So they never do that here.
And what's the main mission of this place? Do you guys rescue these gators?
Yeah, they're all rescues. Our mission is basically to give a home to animals that have nowhere else to go. People get gators when they're about that big. They can fit in your hand.
Yeah.
That's when they get them. But after 5 or 6 years, you've got an animal that's just too big to have in a home.
So some of these were found in people's basements?
Yep.
Or
Basements, houses, backyards fenced in, garages.
Can people still buy gators? You can just go buy a gator?
You can. You can go to a reptile show and get one. You can order them online.
Which I think is awful because they're not meant to be in people's bathtubs, basements.
No. It's not fun for them, definitely.
Yeah, now they all have, I'm assuming they all have names?
Yeah, they all have names. So most of them show up, they already have a name because it's somebody's pet. But sometimes we get a found one or a confiscated one, and then we'll have to name them.
Well, now, who are these guys we're looking at here?
Well, right here is Quasimodo. He's got the funny teeth and the crooked back.
Yeah.
Wally over there with the yellow stripes. Down here you got Mitch. My favorite down there in the corner, I don't know if you can see him, but...
Is he the alpha gator?
Yeah, he's our alpha gator. He is the oldest gator in there. And he's also the smallest gator in there. But alligators respect age more than they respect size. And what they're smelling is a pheromone. And his pheromones have developed, and they smell that scent of a 25-year-old animal. So just instinctively, they respond submissively to that smell.
How many gators you got in here?
About 150.
Wow. How the heck did you guys end up with over 100 alligators in this incredible place?
Well, believe it or not, in Michigan right now, there's probably about 5,000 pet alligators. And so the reason we started this place is because there's a need for animals that have nowhere else to go because they've gotten too big for people to have them as pets. And really the only other option is they were just euthanized because you can't let them go. Once an alligator's lived with a human, all he's going to do is look for humans to feed him.
To feed on?
To feed him.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So
I misunderstood.
It's like when you feed a raccoon. It's not going to go away anymore. Right. Alligators, same thing. So you can't take a domesticated gator and let him go in the wild. He's just going to look for people, so that's not going to work.
Makes perfect sense.
He has to have a home like this or be euthanized. That's the only two options.
Now admit it, when you first heard we were visiting an alligator sanctuary in Michigan, you thought we were nuts. But sure enough, it's right here on Route 66. And the dedication that Peter and his family put into caring for these animals is something we can all be proud of. You and your family will absolutely love a trip to Critchlow Alligator Sanctuary. It's an awesome animal adventure you won't soon forget. And for 11 billion more adventures you won't forget, just pick a Michigan road and roam it for yourself. Heck, on M66, we found tons of stuff. So put together your own awesome road trip real soon. And wherever you end up, tell them Tom from UTR sent you. Oh, and Jim and Eric, too.
Support for Under the Radar provided by the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, dedicated to shared economic success. MEDC promotes the state's assets and opportunities that support business investment, job growth, and community vitality.
Along the way is where we find the unexpected. Along the way is where we take in the scenery, and often where we have the most fun. Sure, along the way can be the place we stop to fill up or grab a bite to eat. But in Michigan, along the way becomes the place we've been longing for. Because enjoying the journey is always pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
Outside of town. Hi. Here's how we do it. So, welcome. My name's David.
Thank you, David. Hi, David.
Take that hand, put it around his neck. Actually, we're going to do a camera shot, so we'll do it this way. Okay?
Okay.
That hand around his neck.
Around his neck.
Nice and firm.
Oh my God, he's dry.
Well, yeah, just put him in the microwave, okay? Just hold him right there.
Yeah.
Take this hand over his tail.
Right.
Underneath his belly.
Right.
Squeeze his tail in your armpit.
Got it.
There. If he wiggles,
yeah.
hold it.
He's scared to.
You can't say that. You can't say that on this.
Bejesus?
Oh, this is B film. Okay, you can say whatever you want. Right there.
Okay.
Sideways like that.
Okay.
Do not drop him.
What happens?
Because I don't want to chase him. I'm very old.
Okay.
Don't drop him, and don't let him swing his head up and hit you.
Right. Okay.
Okay?
Yeah. Does he need to be burped or anything, or is
No,
he?
you just hold on like that.
Okay.
I need to burp because I just had some chicken, so it'll be fine right there.
Can I have some chicken too? That was David, by the way. That's Peter's dad. He's the man. Well, actually, Peter's the man too. And this is an alligator. I'm going to get you. I don't think he probably likes that.